How long is a real estate purchase contract good for? Well, it really depends, guys. It really, really depends. Okay, so how long is a real estate purchase contract good for? It's going to depend entirely on what's written into the contract, right? So if the contract says that the inspection period is 30 days and then you're going to close 10 days beyond that, well, typically the real estate contract is good up until the closing date, right? Now, it may expire at the end of the date, or maybe somebody will be in breach of contract if you go beyond that date. So how long is it really good for is kind of a tough question, right? But essentially, it's going to be good until it's canceled. That's kind of how you have to look at it. Even if you go beyond the date and everybody agrees, you can still typically go get the deal closed without even having to amend the contract, or maybe you'll amend it at closing to get it done. But a purchase contract is going to be as good for as long as the person that writes the contract will allow it to be good for. So if anybody has the ability to opt out of the contract or cancel the contract, then it's not going to be good anymore, right? It's going to be a void contract at that point. But it essentially is 100% dependent on how it is written, right? So if a contract is written that it's going to expire, after 45 days, well, then it's good for 45 days, right? It's pretty basic. If it says that the contract is, going to be good for 10 days before something needs to happen, and that thing happens, well, then it will be good longer. But if that thing doesn't happen, so you get where I'm going here, it is 100% going to be dependent on what's written in the contract. So it's a difficult question to ask. How long is a purchase contract good for? Because it really depends on a couple of the scenarios. So what's written into it is one of the scenarios. The other scenario is are the people on either side of that contract, the buyers and the sellers, are they honoring it? Because if they're not honoring it, it may cancel it. Again, it may actually put somebody into default, right? They're defaulting on the contract. And then you could essentially have to get a lawyer involved, right? I hope that doesn't ever happen to you, but sometimes it may require the help of an attorney, right? So be in charge of writing your contracts, because then you're going to know all of the individual things that will make the contract good or not good. And you'll also know what those time frames look like. If somebody else writes the contract, you need to be aware of those things. I always recommend you write the contract, because then you're going to know, you're going to be the one writing them versus just reading them. And if you're in a hurry, you may skip over some important things that maybe make the contract good or not good for certain things. So you don't want to skip those items. So if you can't be in control of writing the contract, make sure you read the contract thoroughly and you know when it's good for and for how long and for what reasons it maybe isn't good for, right? Simple. Know those. I prefer to write the contracts because then I'm in control. He who writes the contracts makes the rules, guys. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and get out there and write some contracts.